Okay, cool. Okay, so people.
And last night I built this racer.
Nice, nice. So what kind of racer is that?
Electric racer. It was for a project for Sincere.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So you use it outside?
Yeah.
Okay. And does it go pretty fast?
Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. Christian, how's everything going with you?
Pretty good.
Good, good. It's good to hear. Great. We're just going to give another minute to make sure everyone's. I'll wait for Mr. Driscoll to give me a thumbs up in terms of everyone being here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, Grace. Good morning, Miriam. Good morning, Ethan. Let's see here. Okay, I see we got a couple more people popping in. Great. Good morning. So before I dive into a topic, because there's some things that I was thinking about, just diving into a topic, is there anything that you all any one of you want to discuss this morning before we kind of dive into a topic in particular? Feel free to throw it in the chat if you're, let me see. Okay, great, great, great. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So over the last week, I've been thinking about some of the advice that I was given while I was growing up, and also while I was, I remember being your age. And give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. Okay, perfect, perfect. And one of the things that I've always been told was to think positive and do the right thing. Raise your hand if you ever been told that before. Think positive and do the right thing, right? And I was told that, especially when I was your age, make sure that you think positive, surround yourself with the right people, always do the right thing. That being said, I always wanted to know, how do I know if I'm doing the right thing, right? We all know that there are a lot of emotions, there are a lot of decisions, and a lot of things that happen that impact the type of decisions that we make. So we always want to make sure that we have some sort of rubric or some sort of strategy to making sure that we do the right thing. So what I'm going to talk to you about this morning, and hopefully we're going to have we're going to have a conversation this morning about how do you know if you should participate in an activity or if you should actually do something. Based on my research, everything that you could possibly do falls into one of four different categories. Four different categories. Give me a thumbs up if you actually have some note-taking, something to take notes in front of you. All right, that's what I'm talking about. You guys are absolute scholars. So right now we're going to talk about the four levels of human experience, the four classes of experience. So let's talk about the first class. So class one is, we call it a class one experience. It is something that feels good. It's good for you. It's good for others. And it's good for the greater good. All right? So it's good for you. It feels good. It's good for you. It's good for others. And it also serves the greater good. Think about that for a second. And let me get some quick volunteers as to what things do you think would fall within that category. Let's go to Michaela. Michaela, what activities do you think would fall within that category? If it feels good, it's good for you, it's good for others, and it serves the greater good.
Like volunteering.
Volunteering. Okay, give me an example. Give me an example like volunteering.
Like it could be like volunteering at like a hospital, or like cleanups, like beach cleanups or environmental cleanups and stuff.
Nice. I like that. And that one is interesting. Volunteering. I like that one. So let's put it to the test. Does volunteering feel good? Is it good for you? Is it good for others? And does it serve the greater good? That's an excellent one. I like that. Volunteering. Let's go to Stephen. Stephen, give me one that falls in the category, Stephen.
For the grade, well, I was gonna say volunteering, but probably something like tutoring somebody, or tutoring a younger child, or teaching someone.
That's a good one. These are good ones. When I talk about the next class, though, these are interesting, right? Because when it comes to volunteering, when it comes to teaching, I know as a teacher myself, or as an educator, do you think that it always feels good?
Well, it doesn't even have to be like more like in the classroom setting. It could be like learning a new thing, like outside of school, like probably maybe like how to ride a bike or something, or how to or something simple to tie your shoes. Like it doesn't. When I say teach, when a person say teach, it don't mean necessarily the classroom. It's just
for sure.
You showing them how to do something, how it works, and why you need to know it for to better your life.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. I'll say that for me, I've learned that teaching and educating you all feels good to me, and I think when I feel good, I tend to have less stress, and when I have less stress, it's good for other people, and I think it's good for the greater good. So I definitely think that's an excellent example of a class one experience. So when you talk about a class one experience, we think that we want all of our activities. That's the peak number one type of experience that we could possibly have, right? It feels good. It's good. It's good for you. It's good for others, and it's also good for the greater good. But what we also know is that all of our experiences are not going to be class one experiences. So let's talk about a class two experience. A class two experience doesn't feel good. It does not feel good, but it's good for you. It's good for others, and it serves the greater good. Got that? It doesn't feel good, but it's good for you. It's good for others, and it serves the greater good. So let's talk about some actions and some experiences that fall within that. Leah, what actions or experiences fall within a class two experience?
Did you say it doesn't feel good, but it's good for you, or just good for others?
It doesn't feel good. And when we say doesn't feel good, that could be doesn't feel good physically, it could be emotionally, it could just be a lot of different ways, but ultimately it doesn't feel good, but it's good for you, it's good for others, and it serves the greater good. And feels good could be taste also, right?
Maybe getting like vaccines and getting shots, like the necessary shots you need to go to school.
What do you have about that? Give me a thumb raise. What about that? Getting the shot, some type of vaccination. Yeah, vaccinations, they don't feel good. And some may argue another argument, but some vaccinations, they don't feel good, but they're typically good for you. They're good for others because when you're immune now, you have less likelihood of infecting someone else, and then it serves the great good. That's one that I have not heard, Lee. I think that was a pretty good one. Let's go to Ethan. Ethan, talk to me.
Say like going for a run.
Going for a run. Okay, going for a run.
Like, yeah, it's definitely doesn't feel good, but it's good for you, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. And how many? Raise your hand if you're an athlete. Okay, cool. So I know how it is to. I'm just in the process of getting back in shape, trying to get my summer body back. And when you first start working out, it hurts and it does not feel good. But the more and more you do it, you know that it's good for you, right? It's good. It's good for others, and it also serves the greater good in terms of a healthy society, right? That's a good one. And one that I was thinking about that many people have not mentioned is, raise your hand if you like Brussels sprouts. Okay, I see it now. You got the hand right. I know she likes Brussels sprouts. Let me see. Okay, we got a few Brussels sprout lovers on here, right? A lot of people don't like the taste of Brussels sprouts, or they may not like the taste of. Raise your hand if you ever had like omega-3 oil or cod liver oil or something like that. Raise your hand. Keep your hand raised if it tastes good.
I don't remember how it tastes like.
It's like a real fishy type of taste. Without it's fishy without any of the good fishy taste. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just the fishy oil. So we know it not necessarily tastes good, right? but it's good for you, it's good for others, and it serves the greater good. So when we see the difference between a class 1 and a class 2 experience, ultimately, we ultimately want class 1, and the best thing that we can do is to convert a class 2 experience into a class 1 experience. So the longer you start to run, hopefully you get to the point where you get that adrenaline and you actually get in shape to the point where you actually like working out. Or you eat your vegetables so much to the point where you start to actually like the taste of it. But ultimately, all experiences that we want them to fall within a class 1 or a class 2 experience. Let's go to a class 3 experience. A class 3 experience, and this is an interesting one, it feels good. It's not good for you. It's not good for others. And it's not good for the greater good. Okay?
It could be any experience.
I see William, you have your hands up?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
What about like if a person was taking drugs or something? Like they will technically feel good to themselves and stuff, but then it won't be good for their environment. And then they can like influence others to do the same thing, and it's just worse.
Drugs is a great one, right? Because that's a lot of them are designed to release certain endorphins and they feel good, but ultimately they're unhealthy for the body and they're unhealthy for. That's a good one. I saw Bianca with your hands raised.
I was gonna say, like, when quarantine first started, like, if you were to go out, because like you want to go out because it feels good, but it's not good for you, and like you could expose the others as well.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. Because sometimes there are things that we may want to do, and it's very impulsive, right? I would say those class 3 experiences are typically like non-productive activities that don't actually improve your life. So I think that's a really good one that I hadn't even thought of. I saw a lot of people running out without masks or running out into the world during the quarantine, but they weren't necessarily thinking long term. Raise your hand if someone else wants to. I see Caroline. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. No, so I said procrastination. Because, like in the moment it like feels good to like push something off, but in the end it just like gets you more stressed out, and it gets like the people around you like stressed out, and overall it's just not a good thing.
Absolutely. I like that one. Raise your hand if you all can relate to the idea of procrastinating. Right? And procrastination is one of those very interesting things, right? It always starts out feeling good, but the closer and closer you get to the deadline, it starts to shift, right? Because then you start to realize I'm going to be embarrassed, or there's going to be harsh repercussions, and then it starts to shift. So I think that's an excellent example. Do we see another hand raised? For an example? Okay. So once again, class 3 experience, a lot of things that people do that are non-productive, they're not necessarily thinking. Let me ask you this question. Why would a person participate in a class 3 experience if it feels good, but it's not good for you, not good for others, and it doesn't serve the greater good? Why would someone participate in that? You can either say it out loud, raise your hand, or put it in the chat. I see Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
All right, so I feel like most people need to experience all classes because sometimes they might not even understand. Even though you could say it verbally, they might not understand it mentally because they might know they're doing the action, but they don't know that they're doing it step by step. It's like, for example, like doing drugs. Like many people believe it's a positive because it relaxes them and causes a lot of positivity to themselves, but they don't understand the whole classes of what's going on. Like, sure, you may see it one-sided, but here are some others. And some people could just see the word, just say like, oh, okay. But understanding them is another important thing, which I would have to say would go to class 1.
Okay.
That it's good to understand. It feels good to understand. It's good for you. It's good for others, and it serves for the greater good. It's a better understanding.
I like that, Chris. The reason I like that is because it reveals that most people don't necessarily. A lot of us are impulsive, and sometimes we learn through experience, right? Sometimes we don't have to experience. So everything that we do is not always going to automatically be a class 1 or automatically be a class 2 experience. Sometimes in the process, it's going to be revealed to us that though this feels good, this is not good for me. For example, you may get into a relationship with someone that feels good, right? It may seem like it's going great, but then things start to go really bad and you realize that you're really not a good fit. And being able to pivot and make the adjustment as soon as possible is what's going to help in that situation. So you're right. Sometimes people have to learn through experience. Anyone else? Okay, let's dive into a class 4. There's only one more left, right? A class 4 experience. A class 4 experience does not feel good. It's not good for you. It's not good for others, and it does not serve the greater good, right? It doesn't feel good. It's not good for you. It doesn't serve the greater, it's not good for others, and it does not serve the greater good. What type of actions or activities fall into that category? I see you up there, William. I'm going to go to you next. I'm going to go to, for now, I want to see what Matthew has to say. Let's see, Matthew.
I'm thinking maybe like inflicting self-harm or something.
Okay, inflicting self-harm. Give me an example of that. Like what type of inflicting self-harm?
Yeah, like if you're stressed out or something, some people tend to like hurt themselves to kind of relieve that stress. So in that sense, it's not good for the long term.
Okay, absolutely. I think that's a good one that a lot of people don't think about, doing things that may harm you. Let me get, okay, now let's go up to William. I know you had your hand up.
I was thinking more of inequality or racism.
Racism. Okay, let's get into that. Let's see. The receiving or
both ways, because the way that racism spreads is kind of like really toxic and bad for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like it's bad for yourself if you are racist, and then it's bad for others, and then it's like bad for the greater good because there's no change being made. It's just built up aggression and built up like misunderstanding.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So sometimes a person may be participating in racist acts, and while they're participating, it doesn't feel good. It's not good for them. It's not good for others, and it doesn't serve the greater good. I think that's a good one. Let's go to Marcos. Do you have one for me, Marco?
I don't really have one right now.
Okay. Let's help Marco out. Who has an example? Let's help him out. Who has an example of a class 4 experience? Something that doesn't feel good. It's not good for you. It's not good for others, and it doesn't serve the greater good. You know, I'm going to help you out. And it relates to an earlier topic centered around drug use or alcohol. I'm an adult, so I've had alcohol before. And I can tell you the first time I drank alcohol, it did not feel good. It did not taste good. It was not healthy for me. It was not healthy for others. And it did not serve the greater good, right? So there are things that we can do, that we can participate in that's not good for us. It doesn't feel good. It's not good for others, and it does not serve the greater good. The bigger question is getting into the psychology of why would a person participate in a class 4 experience. Let me get some feedback from you all. You can either say it out loud or you can direct it right to the chat. Why would a person do something that doesn't feel good, it's not good for them, it's not good for the greater good, and it's not good for others, and it doesn't serve the greater good? I see Bianca got her hands raised. Go ahead, Bianca.
Possibly because of like social pressures.
Okay, social pressures. I see William snapping to that. Social pressure for sure. Anyone else?
Kind of like what Bianca said, it's kind of the norm now for adults to drink. Like it's normal. So that's why people would, or they chase the feeling of it. They don't necessarily like the taste of something, but they like the way it makes them feel.
So then that would be something similarly earlier, right? I talked about how you can convert a class 2 experience into a class 1 experience. Something cannot feel good, but it could be good for you. and you can convert that, whether you're working out, then it starts to feel good, then it's good for you. You can convert a class 2 to a class 1. Ultimately, people tend to convert class 4 experiences into class 3 experiences. So they may drink until it gets to the point where it feels good, even if it's not good for them. That first time that they're pulling on a cigarette and they're coughing, oh, this is killing my chest. They may feel like that initially, but they may do it to the point where it actually starts to feel good, right? Raise your hand if you've ever seen someone teasing someone else, like another group of people teasing someone. Raise your hand. Now, this is going to be a tough question, right? This is going to be a tough one. Keep your hand raised if you've ever participated through laughter. Hands are coming up a little slow. This is a real safe space, right? And I'll tell you, you see my hands up? Because I've done that before, right? So sometimes something can be uncomfortable and then we may participate, right? So sometimes we need to be really mindful of the things that we're doing and what is ultimately going to be the impact. But let me tell you this. We just broke down all of the various classes of experience, class 1, class 2, class 3, and class 4. And everyone who's on this chat right now has participated in every one of these experiences. But let me tell you this, ultimately it's because of underlying reasons. Everything that you do, and every activity that you could possibly participate in has a positive underlying intention, right? Has a positive underlying intention. And if we can identify what that underlying intention is and that underlying reason, okay, great. What those underlying reasons are, then we can really have a lot more control over the things that we do. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a, I know one of the things that we're doing is we're practicing thumbs up in our group. We're practicing our hand experiences. As opposed to putting your hands up, I want us to start actually using the symbol. I think I can try to use it as an example. Everyone on the screen right now, give me a thumbs up. Not physical one, but give me the thumbs up. Not physical. Give me the thumbs up, the emoticon. Great, great, great. So we're learning this thing together, right? The more we're going to be engaging, we're going to start learning a lot more ways of utilizing this type of technology. The next time that we speak, though, I want to get into the psychology of why a person would actually participate in a class 4 experience. How we could actually convert a class 2 experience into a class 1 experience, right? Get into the psychology of it, right? We only have a couple more minutes left in this session. Let me kind of open it up to questions. We've just talked about the 4 experiences, the 4 classes of experience. Let me get some feedback. What are your thoughts about these 4 classes? You can either say it out loud or into.
I'll go on this.
Great, Chris.
So basically, with the 4 classes, I think they're actually pretty cool, and it's a cool like little scale to go by because some people, like I said, from experience and understanding, and also it's like it's cool that you could attach a memory that you had to one of these classes and see if whether it was good or bad. For me, I keep on remembering this memory that I had at East that a new kid came in and he came from West, and East and West both have a little bit of friction with each other.
Okay.
So then this new kid came in and basically he was completely discriminated just because he came from West. And I just went like, I've been at West and it's not that bad. And basically many kids laughed at him, they teased him. He was sitting alone.
Okay.
So basically I told him like, come on, sit by us, sit by my table. And I honestly didn't care because I know like I've been to West, I know how it feels, and I don't see like why there needs to be any friction between them. Like we both come from the same district and we both are students that want to learn. So basically I have the kid and we talk, and then afterwards we became friends. But everybody still looks at me strangely because I accepted him for who he is and where he came from. And honestly, I don't care. It's like we're all human beings, we're all here to learn, and we all need to learn how to accept each other regardless of who they are.
I think that's great. I like that example, and I think that what you just talked about was an example that we can all take to heart. I'll say this, it's not necessarily easy, it's simple, but it's not necessarily easy to always make the right decisions, right? Let me get some feedback from you all. Talk about an experience where you converted a class 2 experience into a class 1 experience. right? Something didn't start out feeling good, but you knew it was good for you, and you knew it was good for others, and it serves a greater good. So you converted it, and it actually ended up being converted into a class one experience. You either put it in the chat, or you can give me an indication by signing on the screen, putting the thumbs up on the screen if you want to share out. All right, we got Steven.
Working out.
What type of working out?
This was like conditioning, basketball. Like, this is like sometime during the summer. So before I was just shooting around. I wasn't really doing anything like what is it called? Like, or I wasn't doing anything organized. It was just
like informal.
Yeah, but then my uncle he told me if I telling me if I want to make the team, I got to do this. So I said, oh, okay. And one of the things I had to do was my conditioning and get stronger. So like working out, like bench pressing. Like I didn't like it at first, not gonna lie, because it hurt, and I'm kind of a skinny guy. But then like I got used to it. It was pretty fun when I did do it. And it started to roll over in school a little bit when they used to have like the weight rooms open for anybody. Well, not everybody, but like I was cool with a lot of people, so they just let me in. So I just work out there, and it was pretty cool. So
let me ask you this: how long did it take for you to convert that experience over to the point where you started to enjoy it? And how did you stay consistent while it was still not feeling well? Like, how did you stay consistent knowing it wasn't feeling good? And how long did it take to make that conversion?
Well, cause I was going to the gym basically every day. It was really nothing else. I was doing too much. I was trying to get a summer job and do other things, but I couldn't do that. So I just say, you know what, forget it. I'll just do that every day, do something productive at least. And I knew what the end goal would be. So I just kept that in mind the whole time. And then after a while, it just came like it just came pretty normal.
Okay. One thing that Stephen just said, and obviously we're getting at the end of our time here. One thing that he said was he participated in the activity with the end in mind, right? So the question is, how can we keep the end game in mind while we're in the midst of the struggle or in the midst of the challenge, right? Some things that we can do is we can have a vision board. We can have affirmations that we listen to daily. We can have reminders in our phones about ultimately what it is that we want to accomplish. There's a lot of different strategies that you can use in order to keep you comfortable or to keep you focused on the end game while you're in the midst of a class 2 experience trying to convert it over to a class 1. So the next time that we speak, we got to get into the unconscious mindset, the unconscious factors that drive all human behavior. Raise your hand or give me a thumbs up if there will be value in going into that. Let's use our emoticons. Let's use our thumbs up. Okay, perfect. Well, I'll make sure that I deliver on that the next time we speak. It's been my pleasure. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Give me the emoticon if you learned something today, or some type of emoticon if you learned something today. Great. Well, once again, I'd like to give a round of applause to UIC for putting this camp together, giving me the opportunity to share some information with you. And I'd like to thank you all for getting up so bright and early and always participating the way that you do. And I will see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one, man. Have an awesome 4th of July.
Appreciate you.
Have a good one. Take care.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Algenoy. Take care.
All right, Alicia.
I have no idea. This student just had her screen up. I've been trying to contact her, call her,